point of Delirium.
Hey, this is Shoot First Questions Later, an informative and mildly entertaining photography podcast with a raw Aussie flavour. My name's Cameron, and here with me is William Patino.
Cameron, hello.
Yeah, we're going to dive right in and talk about sort of what we've photographed in the last week before we answer some questions a bit later on. Will, what have you been taking photos of lately?
Mate, it's been a pretty quiet week for me, photography-wise, after a huge past few weeks. The last few days, I've just not really got the camera out for anything too serious, just photographing the kids, which really is the most important thing anyway to me. But no landscapes or anything like that for over a week now since I've returned from Canada. Always looking at the conditions and the weather, but it's been just clear blue skies here, more or less, the last week. So I haven't consciously gone out to photograph nature or anything. Just not really doesn't speak to me when it's so tame like this. But been photographing the kids and kind of staging a few shots by the window. I love the window light in my house in the afternoon. So whenever my wife has my daughter in her arms or my son's playing, I've been trying to get him over by the window, have some fun with shallow depth of field. It is hard working with kids. You can't. It's hard, man. I understand that saying now about never working with kids or animals. It's so true. But yeah, that's all I've been up to, really.
That sounds good.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
I've been waiting for the low tide and sunrise to align to go to this sea cave up north, and you can only get there at low tide. And yeah, I've just kind of been waiting for that to line up
on the weekend.
Yeah, it has to be on a weekend, low tide and sunrise. And anyway, it happened last Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
And on Friday I was like, sweet, had in my head I'm going to go. And then I just woke up the next day, completely forgot and didn't realise.
What an absolute failure.
I don't think I realised till Saturday night that I just missed my only opportunity. And anyway, so that was a bummer.
And that is why your name will never be remembered in
exactly. Yeah, anyway.
Wow.
So, but in terms of photo...
You are one pathetic loser.
Oh.
No, sorry. Coming across as very harsh here. But
no.
It sounds like something you'd do.
Yeah. But then I borrowed a camera from one of my friends. So I've taken a couple frames with that. It's a medium format film camera, which we talked a little bit about last week.
That's right.
I called up with my friend Matt and I, asked if I could borrow his Pentax 6x7 medium format camera.
It's right here next to me, actually.
Yeah, it's a big beast. It's pretty heavy. It's
and that kind of stemmed from the last episode speaking about shooting film, and I mentioned that I haven't really done it before, and I've always been keen to try. And Matt Godkin has generously, he piped up, didn't he? And mentioned it.
No,
or something.
I asked him.
Actually. Oh, okay, you asked him. My bad.
But yeah, it's such a beast of a camera, and it's got this lens on it, which the focal length is what you would compare to a 58mm with really shallow depth of field. Anyway, so really excited to use it. It's just gonna,
we're gonna head out.
Different results.
We're going to head out on the weekend.
Yeah, so we'll head out with some colour film.
And this will be the first time I've shot filming, aside from when I was a child or whatever, with just a little compact camera. But yeah, I'm actually really keen.
Yeah, me too.
Quite excited, and
hopefully
I almost don't want to like it, because I feel like if I like it, then it's just going to open up a whole can of worms. Yeah,
Matt said to me when I loaned it, he reckons I'm going to want to buy one when I give it back to him. So
it's huge though, isn't it?
It's really big. It's not something you'd carry around with you often.
We'll put a photo of this in the show notes as well.
Yeah, you'll be able to see the photo of the camera.
I'll put it next to my head for scale.
Nah, your head's really big.
Yeah, that's the problem. So the camera's going to look small.
But yeah, it's a big beast, and it's really kind of slow slow work, like really thought out, methodical.
That's why it
like,
appeals to me.
Yeah, can't wait to give it a go. I
guess we'll give feedback
frames,
on the next episode of our thoughts on the old girl, how it pans out.
Because everything needs to be developed and whatnot.
Yeah, so maybe episode 5500 we'll have the results.
Yeah, we'll let you know when we've got the results from that, and we'll keep you updated and talk about the experience and everything afterwards. But so yeah, that's something you might look forward to hearing. But yeah, really
Most
excited to get out there.
Most likely they won't.
Yeah, and then apart from that, not much being photographed on my front.
Are you still doing the challenge? I just feel like bringing it up.
Come on.
That was dead ages ago.
Look,
bit of a 365 challenge.
So many
mentioned.
So many excuses in my brain. None of them good enough.
None of them are valid.
Yeah.
Basically, no, you're not, and let's just move on.
Yeah. Well, I
wonder how many victims the 365 challenge. Yeah, how many is it claimed?
That's why I didn't want.
It's pretty low success rate. But that's why. Yeah, you kept it off Instagram and just kind of.
Yeah.
Didn't go too public about it.
I didn't want to freak out if I started failing and stuff. So yeah.
So you knew you were going to fail, basically.
Yeah. Now we're gonna tackle some questions. Actually, just one question.
And we'll dive right into the good stuff.
And I'll just ask you to momentarily stall while I find the question.
All right. What are we going to do? Stalling away. We'll just cut this in editing.
Or will we?
We don't even edit. This is all on a tape deck.
Oh,
editing requires cutting and pasting the tape.
That'd be so good.
I think that's how they used to do it.
I'm tempted to get a tape recorder and we just have to do one take. No editing. All right, here we go. This question comes from Diego, whose Instagram is Glass and Stone. And I picked this question...
Sorry, one word, glass and stone?
Yes, yeah. I picked this question because we were just talking about how I'm not taking photos much anymore. And it's something we can both relate to, this struggle. And Diego asks, how do you manage a photography/life balance? Will, you have 2 kids, and Cameron, you work a full-time job. Where do you find the time to look after these aspects of your life and still find time for photography? I work a full-time job, and I have a 1.5-year-old son who needs my time. I want to dedicate more time to photography and eventually turn that into a full-time profession, but I don't know where to find the time. So... yeah, we were just talking about how I'm struggling with this at the moment, and Will's sort of that's your job, but you still find it difficult.
Well, that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Work.
Yeah, I was thinking, well, it's my job, so I can justify using the camera.
But say your home, your personal work. I know that you struggle to find time to sort of get out there, and so it's still applicable and.
Yeah, 100%.
It's such a juggle, isn't it? And we won't be able to give the best answer, I don't think, especially me, because this is something, I struggle with a lot. Like, I'd love to be taking more photos, but I mainly like taking photos in natural daylight, and at the moment there's just none.
Moment, there's not much, outside of work hours.
Yeah, and
hence you haven't been taking many photos.
Yeah, and so, I mean, the only...
Imagine if you lived in Scandinavia or somewhere where it's like it'd be half the year.
It'd be really... But there are still amazing photographers who push through those.
They just man up, Cam.
Yeah,
just man up, get a flash.
Yeah, that's essentially...
You have to adapt to the conditions, really.
You just have to...
With that aspect, yeah.
I'm sort of viewing it from my perspective. The way I take more photos and spend more time on photography is just change what I'm trying to shoot, essentially. And adapt to the scenario where I can take photos. So that, for me, at the moment, is indoor...
Is all your work colleagues at work?
Yeah, just take...
the portraits?
If I could take my camera to work and, get a few sneaky shots every now and then, I think that's a solution. maybe Diego has a job where he can have a camera
on a
with
lunch
him.
break, or who knows?
Yeah. I know people that will take photos on their lunch break if they're in the city.
Yeah, you used to do that in your old job.
Yeah, it just like squeezing it in, I suppose, in between, and you'll be surprised the amount of photography you can get done in the in-between times.
Yeah. I can relate to Diego. He's got a 1.5-year-old son. When my son was first born, he was only about 3 months old. That's when I quit to be a photographer full time. And actually, it relates perfectly to this question. It was not having time for photography that made me quit my job to do it full time, which I know not everyone can have that luxury. It was something that was already slightly on my mind, but once my son was born, I was like, man, life is so much busier now. You know me, Cam, I'd go out for sunrise. I'd always be looking for sunrise, sunset every single day of the week, as I still do. And once my son came into my life, priorities shifted, and working my old job full time, photography really just was it wasn't the least of my priorities, because it was still very high on the list of my passion, but it was just difficult to fit in, and I just had to go, all right, I either just let this slip away slowly or take a leap of faith and try and live off it. And that's where I'm at now, obviously. But as you mentioned, Cam, it's very hard to get that, as Diego said, that balance, that work-life balance, family balance. I think I was saying to you a couple of days ago, man, I'm just burnt out. I'm getting tired when I put my son to bed at 7:30 at night and just wanting to have. I have been going to sleep at like 8:30 some nights, but like you mentioned, just kind of adapting to the situations at hand and maybe changing your photography a little bit to suit whatever you can do. Direct advice, though, Diego, would be to, if possible, bring your son along with you. I don't know what style of photography you shoot. If it's landscapes, like myself, I bring my son along now. I've got a daughter, so even if I shoot out for a sunrise or sunset somewhere, I don't like burdening my wife with the 2 kids, especially our young daughter who's only 4 months old. It's a lot to take on a 2.5-year-old son and then a 4-month-old daughter, especially for all the travel I do. So when I'm home, I don't want to just be running around doing my own thing. I want to commit as much time as possible to family. So if I do head out, my son will often tag along, and it's great for him because he gets out to nature and gets to experience things, and it definitely is a challenge, especially if I bring the chocolate Labrador. I thought it was a challenge bringing the dog along, but now bringing the son. But that's one option, try to incorporate the family, or even if you just want to use the camera more, just photograph your family around the house. I mentioned at the start of the episode, all I've really photographed this week is family, but I still find that really enjoyable and good fun, and it's good practice as well.
Or maybe another possibility is giving up on sleep, which isn't like, I feel, the best advice, because it's very important, obviously, to have sleep. But I feel like that's something that I've learnt in a way. It's just like sunrise, sunset. Oh, not so much sunset, but getting up for sunrise or whatever. Like, you're sacrificing sleep so you can go take photos at a time that's beautiful, but it's also a time where you have time to take photos. So it's
because you're only forsaking sleep generally. So it's nothing else missing out on. A lot of people that I've spoken to over the years, they just rule out sunrise straight away. Like, no, I can't do a sunrise. And it's purely because they just don't like waking up early. I used to be one of those people years ago. I'd just sleep in right until I had to go to work, and off I went. But once I started saying, all right, I think if I went to bed an hour earlier, just so I could get up an hour earlier, and dedicate that time to photography, it just changed everything. It was so much better having that time to myself, as you mentioned, no other concerns or distractions or anything like that. And it's a shift of priorities, really. And for me, a lot of people, after I was using a camera for 1 year, people were thinking I'd been shooting for a little bit longer than that. but it was because in that 1 year I'd probably photographed more than the average person has in 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I was more or less going out every single morning instead of just waiting till one Saturday, so once a week. So that could be an option. Once again, it comes down to your circumstance, where you live, what you like to photograph. But yeah, it's like anything in life. In this day and age, we all are guilty of making ourselves busy or thinking we're busy when we're kind of not. I think if we all reviewed, and this is obviously just mainly speaking about myself, there's so many things that I probably do throughout the day that are just complete time wasters, and I could easily take a step back and go, hang on, if I remove that and that and that, I'll have much more spare time. And this is a bit off topic, but that's something I've done in the last week. I've deleted a few apps off my phone, Snapchat and Reddit, and just little time wasters. I haven't had Facebook on the phone for over a year now. But just, even if it's only 15 minutes an hour, you might do that for 4 or 5 hours of the day looking at these certain apps. It just all adds up. Yeah. So maybe shifting little things around to clear up your schedule as much as possible and treating it as a priority, I guess, especially if you want to try and make an income off photography, then you need to do that. Just like if someone was adamant about getting in shape and getting fit, they would make going to the gym a priority and shuffle their schedule around to make it happen. So maybe that's what has to be done with the photography as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, shifting priorities, it sounds tough, and it makes you analyze or, be a bit more self-aware of how important photography is to you, because you essentially need to decide what parts in your life are less important than photography. And obviously it's not your family or whatever, like still remains top priority. But then there's other things.
Fast forward to a year's time, Diego's just like packed up and left the country.
We do not condone leaving your family.
We do not take any responsibility for Diego's actions.
But yeah, it is a tough thing, and it makes you self-aware, and it's something that I'm thinking at the moment as well. Like, how important is photography in my life, and should it be more important if I want to keep it up? Essentially, yeah, it's a tough one. So it's like any sort of hobby. If you keep doing it for a long time, you're probably going to run into this issue all through your life. Like, you'll probably always find yourself struggling with this time management in some way or another, which is, I suppose, unfortunate, but part of life.
It's almost a luxury, really.
Yeah.
We live in this societies where we have so many options and things to do that we're struggling to fit it in.
Yeah, anyway, so Diego, I hope we sort of helped you anyway there. I mean, I'm not sure how, because I'm definitely not good at this. Will's a bit better at this than I am, but it's a tough one, and I'm sure every other photographer sort of is there with you trying to manage their time around this. Thanks for writing in, and thanks for that question. And if you have your own question, anyone listening, you can email it to shootfirstpodcast@gmail.com. And also we're on Instagram @shootfirstpodcast, and there you can see the show notes and whatnot. But yeah, we're gonna go on to our next little segment now, Will, which is what's it called?
Yeah, you tell me, Cam.
We're just going to talk about the photo that.
No, we're going to have a
this
name.
Week.
What is it?
Yeah.
I feel like I had a name last week. It wasn't good, but
you called it photo of the week, and then
pow.
And then we said
okay.
pow.
Let's not go there again. But anyway, photo of the week, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had a talk. We talked about this earlier before the podcast, and we both. It was very easy to pick this photographer and this photo, and this photo will be added to the show notes. But it's a photographer, Elizabeth Gadd, which I'm sure you've heard of.
No, never.
Friend of William Patino.
Lizzie Gadd. Elizabeth.
Hero of Cameron Sandercock.
Hero of us all.
And the photo in particular we're going to talk about to start with is the one that we saw recently, which you can find in the show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes, and Lizzie's Instagram handle is Elizabeth Gadd, Gadd, Elizabeth Gadd. So the photo we're talking about is currently her second photo in her grid, which she posted a couple of days ago. And I think I actually screenshot it and sent it to Cam. It's one of her images that we've both seen before in the past. Essentially, it's a self-portrait, which is 90% of Lizzie's work.
Very difficult to do.
Man, this shot, it's just... it's her with leading footprints going through the snow and just this beaming, glorious golden light just blasting the landscape around her and just illuminating the foreground and everything. And it's pure magic. It's and it really epitomizes Lizzie's work in general. But just this shot here, the second you look at it, you're just like, yeah. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Actually, Lizzie just frustrates me. All her work, if you look at it,
it's really clean. It's got amazing light. The compositions will always have something leading you into this, her being the subject of this self-portrait, which is such a common comment itself. Like the fact that this is like this self-documentation through these landscapes, and it's just really clear, clean, and, breathtaking, essentially, work.
Simple yet complicated at the same time.
And the scenes are incredible, like mostly taken in Canada where she lives.
And this is a good example of using a wide aperture for a shallow depth of field to really make your main subject pop out big time. So the focus is on her. I can see she's used, like I said, a wide aperture. I don't know exactly what, maybe f4, f2.8, whatever. But because
not
of
very
that,
typical for sort of scenes like this.
Yeah,
like
because she uses
scenes.
so much landscape, it's common to try and get the entire photo sharp. But this is, I can see the foreground's out of focus, the background is, but only her is the main focal point that's sharp. But it works so good because it adds to that dreamy
it's
effect.
Glowing.
It's glowing.
The image is just glowing with light.
The natural light's there, and then if you look at those details in the background, having that slight bokeh, that little out of focus, just enhances that soft look so much. Really good technique to use for these human element shots. Just stands out from the rest, really. Agreed. And just such a simple shot, but just really effective as well. And as I said, if you quickly just browse some of her work, you're just going to get bombarded with these types of absolutely stunning images. And this style of photography is quite common, the human element in the stunning landscape. But Cameron put me onto Lizzie years ago now, probably 4 years. And I was just absolutely blown away, flabbergasted, and the quality of what she was doing back then was just as high as now, and she's still quite young. Yeah, which is also annoying. Maybe I think she's 22. I don't know, I'm gonna get that wrong, but she's more or less been shooting at this high caliber level since she was 17, more or less.
Yeah, like
before it was trendy as well. Before Instagram, before it was the cliche. Yeah,
there's something to be said about that. Like this standard of photo that, like the ones you're seeing at the top there, have been going on for a while. And I remember, I'm not sure how I saw her work originally, but it was that Flickr community that we talked a little bit about last week as well.
Yeah.
And same thing that we just spoke about when I first saw it all those years ago. It was like, wow, this is something different, and this is something done, really well. It's just been so inspiring for me to see her work keep getting better and better, and really encouraging myself to keep getting out and shooting.
Yeah, you can see that progression there, and a bit more fine detail to light as she's moved on. The other thing with Lizzie, keep just big noting her, but she's just such a humble person as well. You never really know the person behind the lens when you're looking at Instagram or social media. It's kind of hard. That stories are good, or Snapchat, because you can get that behind the scenes feel and get to know a person. But I've had the pleasure of meeting Lizzie a couple of times now and doing a few little trips with her, and she's just so humble and not even caught up in her work at all. You can look at the photos and think, wow, she must really just be dedicated and so focused and not obsessed, but put a lot of effort into these, and she definitely does. But she's all about just the experience first and having fun and the adventure. And there was a few times when I was in Canada with her, she just wouldn't even get the photo out because
The camera,
it was the camera. Get that photo out, boy. She wouldn't even get the camera out because the scenery was just so nice, and she just wanted to sit there and take it in. And I was just like,
that's some
man.
Walter Mitty stuff
Yes,
right there.
just like she was like, nah, it's too beautiful. I can't do it justice, and just sat there with a smile on her face.
Yeah,
And
that's just true love for
goals.
nature
Yeah.
and for some of the beauty that she photographs. Like that,
and as
she understands it, and she can portray it in a photo really well.
Yeah, and that is exactly. It's translated in her work. You can see it radiate from the photos, and hopefully, if you've checked her out or you follow her already, we plan to have Lizzie on as a guest shortly. Actually, hopefully in the next couple of episodes. And as we speak, she's on a little solo trek right now in Vancouver.
I think I read 80 kilometres.
Yeah, 80 kilometres,
Far
little
out.
solo hike. And she did like some other huge hike in Spain last year, like way bigger than that. And doesn't even really, it's not even about photography. Once again, this is just for her to stretch her legs and experience nature.
Insane.
It's just a refreshing attitude and personality to come across in this age of, narcissism, really, where everyone's about me.
By the way, Will's official catchphrase of shoot first, questions
What
later
probably
is
refreshing.
in this day and age.
In this day and age.
So, you can find our new T-shirts.
I reckon I'm going to be the grumpiest old man.
With Will's face on it. In this day and age. That'd be good.
This day and age, these young kids going around, taking photos. Anyway, we'll leave it there with Lizzie, but yeah, this work, the photo stands out, but all the photos do in general, and this was one that both Cam and I, we keep in touch all through the week, and we'll often just screenshot a photo and send it to each other just so you're like, shut up, because that's so good. And this was one of those ones, it was just like, shut up.
Yeah.
And it's good. It speaks for itself.
Those photos that make you question whether you've ever taken a good photo in your life.
Just question everything. You just want to drop the mic and walk away.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah.
How do we even... Let's just wrap it up now. Yeah. We're done.
Anyway,
the photos have just
shout
ruined the night
to
now.
Lizzie.
Yeah, nah. Good stuff, Liz.
Well, what have you got coming up this week, Wilbur?
Oh, okay. All right. Coming up this week is a little workshop tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. I'm on
which
that.
you, my man, are on.
Yeah.
You're going to help me out. Little astro workshop, sunset and astro photography.
Astro's pretty difficult, isn't it? I reckon if you can learn to do sort of astro well, then you can
build a
handle
house.
most
You can do whatever.
shooting
you can do anything
situations. So
no, it is difficult, yeah, and it should be fun. So that'll be fun. That'll be tomorrow night. Weather's looking good. Fingers crossed for Milky Way. It's Milky Way season here in the Southern Hemisphere. So that's tomorrow, and then. In all honesty, dude, just nothing planned. I just go off the weather. I have ideas in mind. Obviously, I'm local. No travel at the moment for a good couple of weeks, which is nice.
We're probably gonna hang out Saturday morning, try to get these film shots. And,
okay. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and
I feel like I'll have to drag you out of bed.
Then it's
no sleeping in like the other week.
Then it's just New Zealand around the corner.
Yes, yeah, we're both looking forward to NZ in winter.
Yeah, can't
but just chill times at the moment and kind of just relaxing a bit. Just chill, man. Backing off and
good
chill.
stuff.
Cool. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next episode.
Bye.